Hi there, welcome to 3D with Kiwi. Kiwi is 2D framework made with Python, using OpenGL for applications, games, or other stuff. Although Kiwi doesn't officially do 3D, it provides an access to OpenGL calls, but we won't use them directly, because there is already a package, Kiwi 3, doing that and more in a simple way. Casual Kiwi apps start with some basic form, but we won't need some of the structures, therefore let's remove box layout and KiwiLang builder and write some float layout because we will do the layout manually. I'll put here comments for you to see which imports are for what, so that you wouldn't expect, let's say, render in a standard Kiwi. Now let's import the basic structures we will use to actually see something on the screen, such as render, screen, and perspective camera. First create an instance of renderer. Then create a scene where you will put objects and we'll make a really simple cube for our scene. For cube we will use a class BoxGeometry, which if you open the source code, you will see is just a bunch of vertices, faces and normals with a code that makes them either closer or further from the origin of the object. To get our geometry rendered, we will need to create a mesh, which is basically a geometry with a material. So let's do this. We'll start with cube geometry, which will have 1 by 1 by 1 unit size and a material. No fancy stuff with material for now, just the default one. Let's create a queue with joining those two things and make sure to use self because we will use it in a while. The default position of mesh is at 0, 0, 0, which will change. I think z-axis should be just fine for now. Then we will create a camera, exactly the perspective camera. That one has up vector in the direction of z-axis, so that's why we moved our cube down along the z. To set some defaults, we will use field of view. Let's simply set a distance of object the camera will capture from the origin of camera, basically from screen. Aspect is similar to screen ratio, for example 16:9 or some other, and the remaining ones are just too obvious. Now that we have camera done, let's start rendering. For that, we will need to add our cube to a scene we have created before and call a render method of the renderer with arguments scene and camera. The reason why I used aspect equal to 0 is because it needs to be updated later according to the renderer size, which is calculated also later. Therefore, using just aspect equal to some exact value is not really useful, and try to resize a window. If you used Kivy, you must know binding to a property, and that's what we will use to adjust the aspect of the camera. When I said adjust the ratio of the screen, here you can see why. You divide renderer's width with renderer's height and put it back to camera. Such thing will be performed every time the renderer's size changes, for example when resizing a window. Now that we have aspect corrected, we surely don't want the cube to just render. It's 3D. Don't forget to add to the layout our renderer, and we can go a little bit further. We will use KiwiClock to schedule a function that will update the rotation of our cube by 1 degree on each 0.10 seconds. Well, not really. Kiwi has by default fixed frame rate to 60 frames per second, but the number looks nicer than 1/60.0 and it's really close to that anyway. Let's run it. Well, I think that's all for now. Thank you for watching and have a nice day.